Yes, my dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Very good afternoon to you guys all out there. Or is it still in the morning in Africa, in Europe, in America, Canada, Australia, already in Southeast Asia? Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful Saturday indeed, and welcome to the show. This is a very special edition. Chelsea, and remember, you are on Salon's blog. Like the video, share the video. Yes, and if you are new, please subscribe to the channel. Help us to grow. We want to hit 20,000 subscribers in the next 60 days. Is it too much to ask? No, I don't think so. 2 months for 3,000 plus subscribers is not bad. So help us by subscribing to the channel and like the video. We also want to hear from you in the comment section, dear friends. Today, this morning or this afternoon, depends on where you are. We want to analyze Chelsea's game against Tottenham. Yes, tactical analysis of Chelsea-Tottenham. How did Chelsea manage finally to win a game with just 1 goal margin, unlike before? Unlike before, Chelsea finds it difficult to win a game by 1 goal margin. Yeah. But surprisingly, we finally managed to win a game with just 1 goal. We defended so well, we were able to accommodate Tottenham to the end. Dear friend, it is what we want to discuss this afternoon. Once again, this is Salom's blog. Remember, our new channel is also ongoing. Our new channel is GH247 News. Yes, GH247 News, where everything entertainment, political, and and sports news, we have it there as well. GH247 News. That is our new channel on YouTube. GH247. You can visit us on our new channel as well. Quickly, let's get started. You see, as the Premier League entered the final stretch, final stretch of 8 matches more to go in this season. Is it 8 or 9 matches? Yeah. Maresca's Chelsea have a huge task on their hands. A very huge one. Indeed, if we are to qualify for the Champions League, then it's a huge task. Because of the gap between the 4th place team, in fact, the 3rd place team, the 4th place team, the 5th and the 6th place teams. The 3rd place team seems to have a much more gap. So it is difficult for any team to catch up with the 3rd place team. But when it comes to the 4th place team, the 5th place and the 6th, the competition is so keen, and that is why it's a huge task ahead of Chelsea. At least, only 1 point separates the 4th and the 5th team, and 2 points the 4th and the 6th team. However, with a tough round of fixtures facing each of these teams along with the other international issues, dear friend, it is set to be a difficult challenge for all the 3 teams, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. The first game is tomorrow. The first game will be tomorrow against Brentford, out of the 8th. Yes. And that will be the game that we can really test Chelsea's resolute, whether we can go on a run or not after beating Tottenham in a 1-0 encounter at the bridge. Dear friends, in this special analysis, I'm going to be showing you comprehensively what actually happened. How did Chelsea manage? How come that this game seems to be different from the games we've been watching from the start of this year, 2025? Yeah, I would not like to go too much into 2024. 2025, we've had a turbulent time playing our games due to, well, you may say injury. Yes. Lack of material. Dear friends, now let's get started in this drive. Fasten your seatbelt and follow me. And let's move on. Let's move from there. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, let's start with Chelsea's build-up. Chelsea's build-up against Tottenham Hotspurs on Thursday night. Tactics and the out-of-possession approach of Chelsea. Chelsea's build-up tactics and out of possession approach of Chelsea in that game. You see, the Blues set up in a very unique way. We set up in 4-2-4 formation. 4-2-4 formation. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. 4-2-4 build-up structure with Enzo Fernandez dropping alongside Caicedo. Fernandez dropping alongside Caicedo to form the double pivot, whilst the back line stretched wide. And Sanchez joining the back line. Remember, the back line seems to be three back line, but Sanchez joining them, making it 4. Against this, Tottenham player Solanke would look to take on 3 players at a time. Solanke will have to take on 3 players at a time at the initial press, starting on Levi Cowell, left center back, then jumping on to Sanchez, who is the goalkeeper, and then finally pressing Chalobah. I'll show you the diagram. Chelsea's midfield and fullbacks were man-marked. Chelsea's midfield and the fullbacks were man-marked to cut off any direct short press and passes. This meant that Spurs could double up on Jackson in attack, whilst maintaining their 1v1 against the Blues. That means that they maintain their 1v1 against Cole Palmer and other wingers. Now, it means that Chelsea's centre backs plus a goalkeeper will have time and space on the ball. That is exactly what we did in the first half. Chelsea centre backs plus the goalkeeper now had enough time and space on the ball with this formation, with good good passes in Chalobah and Levi Cowell at that center of defense, and then returning Jackson up front. You watch carefully, we're having more long balls up front for Jackson. With his great ball, run. Jackson's ball run. Once he receives the ball, he's able to run with the ball. Now, whilst doing that, they also maintain the 1v1 against Chelsea. Whilst doing that, whilst he's running, it means that the Spurs players, they are not sure whether Palmer is going to come in or other wingers like Pedro and Jadon Sancho. Because once Jackson receives the ball, it becomes like every other attacker, Cole Palmer, Jadon Sancho, and Pedro, they are all on speed in attack. Dear friends, now, quickly, I want to show you something here. Chelsea could have found joy by scoring an early goal, but that didn't happen. You see, Jackson came close. He came very, very close in scoring, although he may not have known much about it. But he came close. His attempt to hit the near post and nearly gave Chelsea an early lead. On your screen, the first image you can see right there, you see the positioning of each player. Robert Sanchez as a goalkeeper, receiving the ball and releasing it. Now, the 1v1 that I spoke about is clearly seen there. We go to the second image. Direct play. Solanke was left idle because he couldn't get a ball. By the time he wanted to turn back, the ball was already with Jackson. The third image, as you can see, likewise, it's exact situation that I narrated earlier on. Once the ball is from the goalkeeper direct to their attack, which is usually the target or the aim is either the right winger or the left winger or Jackson. The fourth image there clearly shows when Jackson received the ball and the ball hit the post. That should have been the first goal. You see it in the fourth image. That is Jackson in between Spurs defenders. He actually did not know he was just about to score because he thought he nearly missed it. But the ball just hit the goalpost straight away. You remember the game? Dear friend, this was actually the team. You could notice throughout the match as Chelsea had a proper outlet to play in behind with Jackson up front. I talked about this prior to the game as I came across one chart when I came live before the game. I came across one chart that illustrated Jackson's positioning as a headman. Now, you see, after 15 minutes or so, I noticed a slight high press from Chelsea. They now wanted to limit, from Tottenham. After the 15 minutes, I noticed a slight high press from Tottenham. They wanted to limit Chelsea's threat in the build-up. So what did they do? Spurs were then man-for-man marking. They now went for man-for-man marking. There were many instances around the 15th minute period that I noticed a straightforward man-oriented press from them. Ladies and gentlemen, look at it on your screen there. Just after the 15-minute mark, you could see them clearly. They went down for man-to-man. Look at every Chelsea player. Look at Chelsea player there. Look at Hotspur's player. Man-to-man. This happened just after the 15-minute play. Please help me with the tissue. Just after the 15-minute play, and most of you will agree with me that anytime Chelsea start a game, thank you, within the first 15 minutes, we are always on as if we want to score. After the 15 minutes, the question is what happens after every 15 minutes of Chelsea's play? Dear friends, now go to the second image. It illustrates the same thing, similar thing. Man-to-man marking by Hotspurs this time around after the first 15 minutes. And that actually made the difference after the 15 minutes. That was the second image. And now to the third image. Dear friends, I purposely brought up all this for you to see exactly what happened in the game. The third image as well right there. Now, you see, in that zone between the defensive third and the middle third, which you are seeing in the third image, between the middle third and the middle third, Tottenham Hotspur continue pressing with one where they will either look to leave a wide centre back free. This is so that they can maintain their +1 in the attack. After the man-to-man marking, they also try to maintain +1 player, especially at the back. At the back. The aim was to leave a wide Chelsea centre back free. But at times, when players are pressing on the responsibilities of marking a certain Chelsea player, they can leave a free man in the middle for a bit. This scenario actually gave Chelsea the advantage heading to the second half. I'll show you. You see the image right there on your screen now. Watch it carefully. What do you notice? Man-to-man, but there is another player near the center circle that was left open. In the middle third, Maresca then employed 3-2-5 in the middle area structure, with Enzo Fernandez occupying the right half space. Right? Then Cole Palmer on the left half space, which is not the best position for Cole Palmer. He wasn't very comfortable with it, but it worked in our favor. These are the tactical changes that Maresca had. Cole Palmer was left in the left half space alongside Jadon Sancho. Now, Chelsea had a nice dynamic on either flank with a right-footed player always paired with a left-footed forward. Do you get it? Right-footed player paired, which is right-footed player Pedro Neto was paired with who? Was paired with Enzo Fernandez. Then left-footed player was paired with Cole Palmer. Do you get it? This is the strategy. Left-footed player with a right-footed player pairing together in the half space. Right-footed player pairing with a left-footed player in the half space in attack. A drawback to this point or this approach was that by placing Palmer on the left-hand side, his goal threat was limited. Cole Palmer's goal threat now was limited because he was not very comfortable with it. This meant that Chelsea had a nice dynamic on either flank. Now, his goal threat, which was limited, but he couldn't cut in. He couldn't cut in his preferred left foot because he was now paired with a left-footed player. So he couldn't cut in now on his left foot, which is normally his style. It did enhance his creative side of the game, though, as it seems runs, that were found and could have been followed by a dangerous cutback for the teammates. I don't know. I don't want to waste much time, but the image that I'm about to show you right now illustrates just that. You see clearly that whenever Cole Palmer received the ball, he's not able to cut in on his left because there's a left-hand player. So he had no choice than to give it to the left-hand player. That's the Jadon Sancho. In the same way also, he is not able to cut in, and so he was limited. He was limited in his shots. But then, the good aspect of it is that Spurs, they defended in 4-1-4-1 in mid-block. On a side note, I thought Spurs midfielders didn't defend too well. They didn't. If they had, they would have spotted Cole Palmer's weakness. But they could not spot Cole Palmer's weakness at all. So for one, I would say that Chelsea could have scored more goals in this system. You see, it felt like there were many gaps between Chelsea, that Chelsea could have exploited through the structure or by playing around it. They didn't track their men well enough. Spurs did not track their men well enough. Maybe they didn't practice it enough before coming. As you can see it on your screen, look at the position of each player. Especially the second image. This second image now, just look at it carefully. This illustrates the gap between, and Chelsea could have exploited Tottenham Hotspur's positioning by playing around them because they were left with one man extra. Chelsea could have just exploited this positional play by Tottenham at this point, but they didn't. Now, the next chart I want to show you here actually illustrates the exact position of every Chelsea player in the middle, in the middle area. Every Chelsea player. You can see it very clearly. Pedro Neto is always about an inch ahead of Nicola Jackson. Jadon Sancho is equally ahead of Nicola Jackson. It means that the wide players are always ahead of the main striker. The wide players are always ahead of the main striker. My goodness. Then you will see also where number 8, which is Enzo Fernandez, right by the side of just behind Nicola Jackson, Cole Palmer just behind. So the wide players are ahead. followed by the main striker, which is Nicola Jackson. Then we have Cole Palmer, and then we have how do you call him? Enzo Fernandez. This is how Chelsea set up in the game. You see, something we've included in this game. I have personally criticized Maresca for his rigid style of play severally. Yes, I have done that severally. In possession. Meaning that with this formation that we've seen, with what we are seeing here right now, the players were stuck or limited within their initial zone. However, something we saw on Thursday night, even though the players were stuck in their initial zone, anytime we have the possession, once we have the possession, we now split into that, 3-2-5 formation. On the ball, we always move back to 3-2-5 in structure. Now, take note of this. Let's go back to the chart. You see, Palmer is willing to pull out to the flank and the deeper zones. From this, he is willing, and he has done it several times, willing to pull out to the flank for Jadon Sancho to come in the deeper zones. Enzo Fernandez could do the same also. Similar license to drift about for both players in the half space. But in a way, Palmer was asked to be more fluid in a higher space, whilst Fernandez could drop to support Caicedo. Yeah. Nevertheless, there's something else I want to take note of. Both could also advance or drop. If you want a full play, both Palmer and Enzo Fernandez, both of them could also advance or drop. That actually resulted in the goal. At the point that Enzo Fernandez advanced, that was when he was there. How many times did he get close to scoring? About 2 or 3 times. Sancho and Neto could also get into the half space, because whenever Enzo Fernandez goes to the wide and Kopama comes to the wide, it means that Sancho comes to the half space, Pedro Neto comes to the half space. So they were interchanging position in the final third. Dear friends, now, look at the image there on your screen. 3 images. First one, the pictures are not very big. Maybe if you can zoom it, you could see clearly who and who. If you could zoom it, you can see it clearly. So, in a nutshell, Chelsea went into this game with one thing in mind. We score a goal, and then we will have to find a way of maintaining the goal. That lead, we must maintain our lead. They also plan it, perfectly, not to concede. Maresca finally is working on that. Look at the second image and the third image I'm placing on your screen right now. Even at the time that Cucurella joined the attack from the left flank, it freed Jadon Sancho to join the half space, giving Cole Palmer the opportunity now to have the ball and create space for either he himself or Nicola Jackson. The third image shows clearly what I just said to you right now. That shot from Moise Caicedo is as a result of that. As mentioned, since Spurs midfielders weren't great at tracking their men, and as Maresca in possession idea was to rely on a lot of off-ball movement, Chelsea could have exploited Tottenham in any way. That tells me that there is still something that is missing in this setup. If it be another kind of Chelsea, Spurs would have conceded another 4 goals. Yeah. Chelsea could have exploited them in mid-block, honestly. Below is a good example of this. As a simple seam run from Palmer wasn't tracked well enough by Bergville, Tottenham player Bergville or Bergville, whatever we want to call him. Sancho finds Palmer, who then fizzes a cross in the corridor of the uncertainty. Fernandes almost nudged it in. But the goalkeeper, the man of that saved Tottenham, that goalkeeper, Vicario, manages to gather the ball. You remember that scene where the ball nearly went in, but the goalkeeper was right there at the edge. They tried to push him in with the ball, but he saved the ball. That was as a result of that as well. That is the image you can see clearly there. All these images illustrate everything that the system of play, the tactics, the formation. Yes. Those are the images on your screen. Now, I'm about to run up. You see, after Chelsea went up 1-0, I thought Chelsea did really well to control the game and off the ball. This is something I have not said very often this season. I've not seen very often this season from Chelsea. Especially in the later stages of every game. Chelsea is not a team that adept at controlling games defensively. We are not. But Thursday night proves something that we can. Our players can. With the right mentality and the right system. Yes. We did well in this regard. As the match wore on, dear friends, you could also see Caicedo dropping pretty deep to form a back 5 in order to preserve the 1-goal lead. Yes. So the structure now became more like 5-4-1. 5-4-1 at times. In order to control the game, we represented very well in their area. The 4 ahead with a 1, making it 5. Now, if you remember, we had about 7 shots on target due to this system. Chelsea had about 7 shots on target. Or even 8. In the final period of the game, let me just run up because of time. In the final minutes of the game, Maresca wanted to manage the scoreline so well. So what he did was he brought on James to play right back. Rhys James to play the right back. And then he shifted Gusto to the left midfield. He shifted Malo Gusto to left midfield, left wing. So Gusto now was playing as if he was in the left side of Caicedo. Or sometimes you could also see him on the wing, like a left winger. Yes. Then we also saw Tosin coming into the center back. And we now saw Pedro Neto move to a striking position as a striker. Pedro Neto became the striker in the final minute. One thing that you also have to take note of is when Kenyan Dewsbury Hall came on, Dewsbury Hall was given a specific instruction. Enzo Maresca did not just push on Kenyan Dewsbury Hall. He was given a specific instruction. With Madueke also came on for Fernandes and then Sancho. Now, it was a Chelsea team properly set up to defend in a 5-4-1. Then again, to manage to contain Spurs, pressure in that final minute to protect the lead. And it worked perfectly in our favor, dear friends. Look at the diagram on your screen. We now have 5. And then we have 2, or let me just say 3 ahead of the 5. 5 defense, 3 ahead of the 5. So it was more like, we were more like a circle. We're not even on a straight line. Look at it carefully on your screen. Chelsea was never on a straight line. Our defense was not on a straight line. We were more like in a curve. were more like in a curve. So you could see 5 different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can now see 1, 2, 3. That is how to manage a game. It was evidently clear. We now have 2 players heading the attack. So if there's any counter, we have 2 players that are ahead of the 5. Dear friends, now it was like a Chelsea team properly set to defend. They managed to contain Spurs from that moment to the end. Dear friends, I have a lot to talk about this analysis, but for now, let me just end it here. Yeah. I think for once, Chelsea succeeded in managing a game to the end. And Enzo Maresca must be given his flower. Maresca deserves his flower. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys all in the next one when you see me. Shalom and peace.